was younger, being Asian American was a pretty confusing idea to me because it wasn't really explained. I wasn't familiar with the idea of just families and entire races of people being born in a different place and then migrating to somewhere else and then just spending their lives there. At the time, I just knew that being Asian American, I was mostly just one being American because I grew up American, but also I was Asian because of my family. There was a bit of a disconnect because I understand the American part, but not really the Asian, because I feel like I could just be any kind of American. In public school, I didn't learn anything about Asian American history. My Asian peers, I knew that they learned a lot of things from their family, especially the Vietnamese ones, because their relatives would be directly connected to the war. My parents, I don't know, they didn't really talk about their history, so I was just left completely in the dark, especially from just the public education system, since they didn't add anything about it. College, I learned a lot more about Asian American history, especially from my Asians in the United States class. I learned all about how they immigrated here and why they immigrated here, what kind of societal pressures were on them in order to get them to come. I learned about the waves of immigration, how specifically Asians got to the United States, what it was like for them to be here, and then the treatment of Asians all the way up until now. It just seemed like out of all the options, it personally connected to me, and it would be interesting to see like what kind of class it would be. As mentioned, I didn't have any experience with it at all in like public education growing up, so it just seemed interesting to figure out like what my actual history would be like, and the history of people like me. It was revelating to just see that there's so much unseen history, at least to me, of this entire nationality of people, and it makes me wonder, like, what about the other histories of other minorities or other groups? Like, every group and every kind of people, they have their own history that dates back multiple centuries, and that doesn't even have to revolve around the United States. But so much of it is unseen or unsaid. But even though I know now about Asian history in the United States, what about the histories of everyone else in other places that just doesn't get to see the light of day, or that most people don't know about? Listening to diverse stories is important because if you just listen to a limited number of stories, you like develop bias, and everything that you know about those subjects and those stories will just revolve around them. So knowing about as much as possible would like help make not be, I guess, really biased and just like think about what's best for the most number of people. Being Asian American now, to me, means being an example of a long history of, I guess, suffrage, and I don't know, there's just a lot that built up to this point, even before I was here. My name is Zhou, and I'm Chinese American, and this is my voice.
Thank you.